What's up, dudes? Okay, so we're back for round 2. We're gonna do another hour. We're gonna be doing populating the master save object list part 3. We're gonna continue population of this list, going through each file to determine which data points need to be saved. Starting at 4:14 and going all the way till, well, whenever we quit. So, still recovering from this cold here, and let's go ahead and start this timer. Let's put it to 68 minutes, our hour. Alright, timer has started. Let's go ahead and do this. There it is. Okay, let's go ahead and do the work. I don't like that. Just bring it back to the beginning there. Alright, now let us continue going through this list here. We stopped at line 58 in things to do, so let's hop over there. Alright, so this is where we had stopped. So the card group name we said that yes, we do need this to be saved. It's a special case. It must be loaded, restored after setup is run upon reconnect, otherwise bad logic, nasty bugs. Right, okay, so then we have meld group name tube. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Actually, we're going to look at it in the file that we're dealing with, and we're dealing with the custom append list file. So let's go over there, and so let's copy it, paste that in. Okay, so we have, this is a class adder. It is literally just a tuple of names, strings. We don't need to save that. That's gonna already be loaded in. It's not gonna change ever, so we don't need that to be saved. Alright, ref list 2. Now we have number 1, 2. Okay, so this is also a list of strings, or a tuple of strings. We don't need that one. Let's go ahead and get rid of it, or rather put a no there. And then we have skeleton list tube. So we go up to look at this, and this is just another list of tuple of strings as well. So this is also going to be a no. And now we have the instance adders. Let's go ahead and check those out. We have ID. Okay. So this is placeholder assigned immediately below based on card group name. So this is assigned at initialization, and it doesn't matter whether, so this is assigned at the beginning of the client script being run, and this will be done in setup whenever these are all instantiated, initialized rather, and that's not going to change. So it's based on the name. It's really that simple. So we're just going to go ahead and say this is going to be no. We don't need to save those because those are static. They don't change. card group name is actually passed as an arg upon instantiation, so that's definitely not gonna be something that we need to save. And player, well, that is actually an imported object, so that's gonna also be no. And then we have some properties. Let's just scan through the file real quick to make sure there's nothing else. I don't think there's not gonna be anything. Yeah, so we're good here, we're done. So the only thing that we do need to save here is the card group name dict. And you know what I should have put is the file that they originate from. I should have done that because that is actually important. It's not like, well, it should be like readily understood, but sometimes it's not so crystal clear because we do a lot of importing and stuff. I don't want to be confused about where the object's coming from, but that's more of for like reconnecting, but it's not 100% clear what we're referring to when we're creating all this, so it could be confusing. So we have the card group name dictionary, and we're going to copy this, go back over here, paste it in, and now we have the card group name dict. And I guess we can, well, we can't because we're inside of this. Well, yeah, we can. I'm tripping. We can add it. We can add a inline comment to say custom append list by. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, on to the next one. So we're gonna go to the next file. We're done with this one. We're getting closer. Yes, no, 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 no. So there we go. That one's taken care of. Now we have custom logger. We're gonna say this is current now. So let's open up current custom logger. And let's bring it over here. We can close out custom append list and let this one take that place. Alright. So we have a few different objects here. We're just gonna do it like this. So we have this list, we'll just copy actually. It's one way to do it. Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know you could do that. You can switch which tab group. I didn't know you could do that. Well, now I know. Very cool. Okay. So we have the print log switch, the on-off switch, the log list, and the line no adder string. Is this no longer used? Because I don't see it anymore. Yeah, this is a dead object, so that's kind of cool. We get rid of some dead code along with this work that we've been doing. Alright, so our first one is going to be the log list. So let's think about this for a second. Does the log list need to be saved? I would say no. The log list is used for specifically for logging in an instance of the client script running. So in the case that it crashes like all the way, meaning we'll have to use a the database to load data back in, well, that means we have killed that script. The logs would have printed out, which would let us know, you know, our traceback and stuff, the error that we encountered, and all this other logging that we have attached to the list, pertinent for debugging and just testing and all that stuff. So I don't think we need to save this, since this would be a per client instance thing. Yeah, because then we would be like saving old outputs, and the whole point of the logging is to have current outputs. Alright, so log list is going to be no. Then we have on off switch. On off switch, let's see. That is, if equals to true, prints out logs at the end of scripts. If equal to false, does not print out logs. Well, I guess technically this would need to be saved, but actually we don't change this in the throughout the playthrough. We just change this manually. This is like a developer thing. I change this when I'm doing developing. This is like whether I want to log or not. So if it's equal to true, prints out logs at the end of scripts. But if that's the case, why does it print out logs? Or does it not print out logs right now? Because I thought it did. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Okay, we set it to true right here. That's just a default setting. So this should actually be like none, right? We should actually default this to none. Am I wrong in thinking that? Just to, like, not confuse anything. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Alright, so on-off switch, that's a developer thing. We don't need that, so we're going to say no to this. Now we have print log switch. Print log switch is... what is this even? Print log switch. Which will either be set to log or print, and this will determine... Okay, right. So this determines whether we're logging, live logging, or... I mean, whether we're printing or we're logging. So the output would be current if we did print, but the output would be delayed until the end of the termination of the script in the case of it being set to log. So we're going to leave it set to print. That's usually how we have it, unless we are worried about performance. So this does not need to be saved. That's another developer thing. So we're done with this. There's nothing here that needs to be saved. Let me just triple check. Give it a good scan. Yeah, we're good there. So we can go ahead and say done, and we're gonna close this one out and go to the next one. Custom time list. So this is basically like the custom append list. It's a little bit different though. So let's go ahead and do the thing. Change this color so it's not exactly the same. You can just have orange or whatever, that's fine. Alright, so we have the change attribute list and then name. Do we actually have this here? Used as the cal object int arg pass to change attribute list dot data transfer function. Eight. If change attribute list ss or cs is equal to ss. So this is not the same thing. This is a completely different object. So we don't actually use this. This is a dead object. There is no such thing as a custom time list attribute called the changed attribute list. That does not exist. It doesn't. Yeah, we just verified that, right? I just looked through them. Let me just triple check real quick. This is referring to a completely different. This is the file change attribute list. Yep. So we don't use that. This is not used. All right. Now we have name. Oop, I forgot to write them down. I was supposed to write it down. What else? We have ID, and then we have game object. That's I already know the answer to that, but we're being diligent here. And then lock. All right, and that's gonna be it. ID, game object, name, and then lock. Okay. So name is the name of the custom time list, and it is assigned passed at instantiation. So that's going to be no. That's static. That's going to be in setup. Same thing with ID. That also is passed as an arg. Game object is derivatively assigned and is always the same thing. And then lock is gonna be derivative as well, not something that we're gonna need to save. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like that would work. Because I was thinking about what if you're using a lock object and then you disconnect and reconnect, and now it's like a different lock object? But how would the other thing using the lock have access to the old lock object? I don't think we have to worry about that. So this is going to be no, 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 and no. Let's give it a quick scan just to be sure. ID, game object, name, lock. That's all. Doesn't need to be used. Doesn't need to be saved. That's done. Okay, moving on to the next one. Deck. Let's go ahead and close this file, and then we'll open up deck. We'll move it over here. Change this color to orange, nice and bright. And we can just copy these three. And we have more. Let's get over here. We have these other ones. Non-transferred adders. Let's go ahead and copy those. Paste them over here. Of course it messed up the indentation. That's just what it do. And now let's go through and make sure that our init includes everything, or that there's not anything extra in the init that's not in this list that we have here. But first, let's go ahead and fix this real quick to be like this. And then we can just remove all the extra and then add that. So that was easy. Alright, so we have deck, discard pile, discard pile, matched card ref list, draw ranks, draw suit ranks, original deck, ranks dict. That one is not in this list, is it? It's not. Ranked dict. So that should be in the not transferred. So let's go ahead and add that. We'll say ranks dict, and this is just going to be a verified. It doesn't need to be transferred, and it needs a comma. Don't forget that. Okay. Red 3's tuple is there, and then we have, okay, so this one actually needs to be added here as well. Ranks dict, and then so where are we at here? Original deck, ranks dict, red 3's tube, suits tube, wild cards tube, under dunder prior face up discard. Okay, so that's everything, and then we have some properties and then the instantiation of the deck. So let's go ahead and go through this. So deck, do we need to save the deck? Well, this one I think is a no-brainer. I think yes, we need to save the deck. There's no way around that, just because it is changed as we play the game throughout the while loop. It's gonna be different. That's a no-brainer. I think for sure we need to save that. So it's gonna be yes on this one. Discard pile is gonna be the same thing, yeah. Prior face-up discard. Let's go ahead and look at this one because I'm not sure about that. So let's see what we got going on with it. Okay, so this is actually a property. So the internal prior face-up discard is already, so this is derivative, and that is what's going to prior face-up discard equals none. When you set the prior face-up discard, it sets the internal. So this is going to be derivative, so we don't need to save that one. Well, hold up. Wait a second. Actually, just because something's derivative doesn't necessarily mean we don't need to save it. Right? Like, the prior face-up discard actually is something that changes throughout the game. And yeah, this we might need to save this one. Let's think about this for a second. So we have the prior face-up discard setter. Whenever we set it, the data is transferred unless it's being received already. And then when we set it, it doesn't actually set the internal. Do you notice that? Oh, there it is. Alright, it's right there. So it does. Well, I think we need to save this because, so let's say we have a new prior face-up discard. So our face-up discard was a 3. then the player receives a new one, and now it's a 4. And that happens within a while loop. So now it's changed. It is 4, and then let's say it crashes. Then we reconnect. Whenever we reconnect, we're going to be looking for the let's say we need that prior face-up discard for whatever reason on the server side. Well, or maybe on the client side, perhaps. Would we actually need it on the client side? That's the real question. Do we actually need it on the client side? Because this is something that would actually get set, like, I want to say this would only get set through the server side, but so if deck adder is not equal to prior face-up discard, okay, so in progression we set it. The doubly prior face-up discard gets set to the prior face-up discard, and then the prior face-up discard, blah blah blah. So doubly prior face-up discard, master deck prior face-up. So that's the assignment. Then it gets sent over to the client side. Okay. So all this is going to be a server side change. This is the assignment here. Assignment. Alright. Master deck prior face of discard is equal to discard pile at -1. Okay, so this is all happening. This is just references. This is all happening server side. Everything in here. And then that's it. That's the only time it's changed or whatever. So, like, we don't even need like, honestly, we don't even need it at all client side. This is not even used client side. Like, there's literally no purpose for it on client side. We could just literally not have it in existence. So that's going to be a no, I would say. We don't need to save that one. And why do we have this open in 2 places? Alright, so prior face discard is a no. Now we're going to check out black 3's tuple. Alright, so we have black 3's tuple. This is just a tuple of strings, so this is definitely going to be a no. It's static. And now we have the discard pile match card rough list. Let's go over here, and this is a placeholder reassigned to a custom append list instance during setup. The list used to be populated with matches from the hand to the discard pile when a player attempts to pick up the discard pile. I don't think we would need this on the client side. What is this about here? Self-card name and deck discard pile is not and does not need to be transferred. So if it's not transferred and it doesn't get transferred, well, that doesn't mean we don't need it. But if it's not transferred, that means it's probably only used server side. So this would be something that is really only needed server side, I think. Discard pile, match card ref list, clear. So this is a clearing of it in progression. This is the pending to it. This is checking it. This is checking it. And then we clear it. In setup, we create it. We don't transfer it to the client at all. Therefore, we're going to say no to this one. It's not even used. So this one is going to be no. Draw ranks. That is just a static object that never changes. It will be available when we load in the file through an import. Draw suit ranks, same story. Face up discard. Okay, now this one does change and is actually though a property. So that means it's derivative. So it's derived from the discard pile. It doesn't actually like need to be quote unquote assigned. So that's going to be a no. The original deck that is created on setup, right? I'm quite certain. Yeah, the original is reassigned in setup. So that's going to be a no. Ranks. This is. Where is ranks? Well, I know this one we don't need. So is ranks not a thing? There's draw ranks, draw suit ranks, but there is no actual just ranks. So there that went. Alright. Now let's get that one out of here. Ranks dictionary. So ranks doesn't exist. Ranks dictionary. That is probably what ranks was. We changed it to be called ranks dict because it's more descriptive. So this is just a dictionary associating each rank with the associated score. And this is not needed in the it's static, it never changes, so that's going to be a no. Actually, I don't know why I deleted it. I should put no here. Red 3's tube, that one as well is static, so no. Suits tube static, that's no. Wild cards tube static and no. Prior face of discard is no. So the only ones that are yes is deck and discard pile. So let's see, we have deck, and then we need discard pile. Alright, so deck and discard pile. Let me just triple check. No, 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 no. Everything is no there. Okay. And then we're going to. So we added those two. So this one's done. So we just go through here. And we'll do a final pass and remove all the no's. So let's go back to game. Let's open up game. It's going to be our next one. So let's say current. Let's open up game. Bring it over here. Alright. This one's a big file, so we have a lot of stuff going on here. Let's just go ahead and copy this, bring it over here, and paste it in. And go ahead and get that fixed. Now we can also change them like this, like magic. Cool. And they're supposed to have a pound sign next to them. right. And then we have our non-transferred adders. Whoa, that's so many. But just because they're not transferred, that doesn't mean that they're not needed, right? I don't think. Like, just because they're not transferred. Let me see if I can find one, for instance. Well, clicked card may be needed, but it may not be. It depends. So I don't really know. Clickable card list? Clicked card list? I would say these might need to be saved. Yeah, the clickable card list and the clicked cards list might need to be saved along with clicked cards, but most all of these are going to be no, and they're going to be very easy to determine. But we're just going to go ahead and copy them all anyway. It's a shit ton. It's a lot. So many. But I would rather be diligent and, you know, just do it the right way and go ahead and put them in there. And we're just going to multiply our cursor a bunch of times to take care of all these at once. It's going to be really quick. Big magic here. Just going to bam, bam, bam. And we actually missed a couple. We'll fix it. So we have, let's right here. Okay, that's a lot. Alright, here we go. So we have choose multiple cards. Start there. That doesn't work. How about this? No? There we go. And Let's go ahead and scan and see if we have any more. Card sprite group. So I don't think we have this over here. No results. That's gonna be a no. I already can tell you that. But this is also a class attribute. So this one is going to be different. Instance adders. All these are probably going to be instance adders. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, card group dictionary. That was in the game. Is this the one we're currently in? Yeah, card group dictionary. Okay, that's way off. Instance adders, card group dic. So that's a class attribute. So let's move that up out of here. Okay. Now we have more stuff. Where's my scroll bar? There it is. Okay, now we got these. Click card sound file and stuff. I don't think that's gonna be in actually it is already there. Click card sound file. Select option sound file is there. Round end winner sound file. Enter continue sound file is not there. I don't see that one. There it is. It's wait, these are all supposed to be moved to instance class adders. So this should be up here. Way up here. Next one. Move that one up. Select option. What else here? BG music 1 file. So these should be moved up as well. Select option sound. Yeah, bring it up. Enter continue sound. Click card sound. Okay, so those are not in the list because those are sound objects. Those are not going to need to be added at all. I don't even need to add some of these. Song num. There's song num over here. Yep. That should be a class adder. Alright. Song dictionary. Yep. Loops dictionary. There it is. Okay, now we have some class methods. Locks and shit. We're gonna need this. Okay. Choose multiple cards reentrant lock. There you go. Clickable card list lock. I don't even know why I'm doing this because I already know the answer to these. I'm just feel like I'm being extra at this point. This is fucking stupid. I already know the answer to this shit. I don't know why I'm doing this. Fucking idiot. Didn't I copy all these so they would be over there? Like, what the fuck am I talking about here? Am I that stupid? Time, choose multiple cards. Yeah, I copied all this shit, dude. The fuck am I smoking here? Yeah, all this stuff should be over there. Yellow highlight color. or was it? No, I copied the list. Yeah, okay. So I'm just making sure all the ones that are here were in the list, and it looks like I did a pretty good job of that. So where did we stop? So I actually do need to check them technically. Um, text input active lock. We already did that one. ID and then the game state. So we start right here. So if we time click card active, time clickable card list, time clicked cards list, time clicked card, time enter continue text active, time game state, time input text final, time multiple choice active, time multiple choice text 1, multiple choice text 2, progression text, round end winner sound bool, selected choice, input text active. Now we have all the colors. I'm not even worried about this stupid shit. It's not gonna be anything that needs to be loaded in. Screen, none of that's gonna need to be loaded in. Background, none of it. Round end winner sound bool, already there. Sprite group clear. Click card active. Underscore clicked card active. Should be at the bottom. Yeah, event handler start time. I don't see that one. Yeah, I don't see this one. Yeah, so that one's not there. We'll add that one in. Even though I know it's not going to be used. Alright, now we have highlight clicked card. Yep, it's there. Underscore choose multiple cards. Yep. Skeleton clickable card list. Yep. Skeleton clicked cards list. Clickable card list. Yep. Highlight click cards list bool. Yep. Underscore clicked card. Yep. Skeleton clicked card. Clicked cards list. Yep. Alright, that's about it, I think. Font. Invalid, keep text input active. Yep. Multiple choice active. Dunder. Yep. Dunder, enter continue text active. Yes. P1 prior name. P1 prior name. Yeah, P2 prior name. Yeah, that's all gonna be needed, I think. Dunder progression text. Yep. Progression text object. And then progression text object 2 and 3. That's there as well. progression text object rect. Prior progression text object rect. Yes. No. Yep, there it is. Enter continue text. Enter continue text object under. Enter continue text object. And then enter continue text object rect non-dunder. Enter continue text object rect non-dunder. And then we have dunder input text. We don't need that one. Input text object. Input text outline rect. Input text final. I don't see input text final. Input text final lock. There it is. Prior input text. Yep. Dunder selected choice. That one's not there. I don't see dunder selected choice. So we'll add that one. Dunder multiple choice text 1, multiple choice text 1 object, non-dunder. Multiple choice text object 1 rect, prior multiple choice text 1 object rect, prior multiple choice text, yeah. Got that one. Dunder multiple choice text 2. Dunder a multiple choice text 2. I don't see that one here. There it is. Multiple choice text object 2. Multiple choice text 2 object is not there. Well, now with the dot. There it is. Multiple choice text 2 object rect, prior multiple choice text 2 object rect, deck text object. We don't need none of this shit. I already know that. That's static. It's all static. It doesn't change. And that's it. There you go. Okay. And then this is functions. Draw window main. This is setting shit. And there you go. Alright, so that's it. What a nightmare that was. But we're done. Now we just have to go through and see which ones we need and which ones we don't. So let's start off with the card sprite group. Let's go over here and paste it in and see what we got going on here. So the card sprite group is the layer dirty sprite group for all the card sprites for visuals. They are populated the game card sprite group is populated whenever we run setup. So in setup, there you can see game card sprite group add. So that's something we're not gonna need to save because they're gonna be reloaded in. So that's gonna be a no. Now we have the card group dictionary, and I think we referenced that somewhere else. Alright, so we have 3 of 8. Let's go back up here. It's an empty dict. Alright, 4 of 8. 6, 7, 8. So I don't even know where this is used. Adder verified, don't need to transfer. Okay, so the card group dictionary. Okay, so it's not used here. This is the dicta is going to be populated with all of the card objects for the purpose. Yeah, but when does that happen? It doesn't happen here. So if we search for the card group dictionary, we just not there. Game card group dict. Okay, so it's in setup as well. So that's something we don't need to save because it's gonna already be done through setup, right? So here's a question I have. If we load in, yeah, that's a silly question. Like if we have a different object at a different memory location, but assigned through the same namespace and stuff, I mean, it uses the namespace as like a password to access that memory location. So as long as it all matches, it doesn't matter what the memory address is, right? So like I was thinking about if you load in a particular object, anyway, I don't think that's going to be an issue. Like, I'm pretty certain this would work fine. It doesn't have to be at the same memory location. If you have something that refers to that object, well, I don't know exactly, honestly. I'm not familiar with this. I'm assuming this system would work. If it doesn't work, that just means reconnecting is going to be a little bit more complicated, and like we're going to have a special system in to save and load all this shit. Anyway, I think it'll work as is. I'm not going to trip about that. That could be a big deal, but I feel like that might be a good question for ChatGPT actually. So I don't know. I'm gonna ask. I'll put this in things to do. We'll do that next time. I'm actually done. So we'll say ask ChatGPT about loading in an object and assigning to diff memory location regarding objects that reference it. Like I'm a little tired. I feel like this is Python 101 type shit, but anyway. So we're done for now. Where did we stop? We stopped right here. So let's just go ahead and say 125 stops here. Alright, so that's line 93 and things to do. So 520, we're gonna say stopped at line 96, was it? Things to do. Say 5:22. That puts us at an hour and 8 minutes. We'll just say an hour. And then we're gonna go ahead and stage and commit these changes like so. Let's do 5:21, 5:22. Let's go ahead and copy this. Go over here, get branch. We should be on the right branch. Oops. Get add, get commit dash m. There you go. Get push. There it goes. Push to the remote. Now we can go ahead and save this. Programming projects Canasta. Copy. Go back out. Delete it. Paste in the new one. Enter into it. Go to devlog all the way to the end. There you go. That's correct. Now we can just leave that as is because we already saved it today locally. Alright, so that's it for today. We did a almost through this nightmare list. But yeah, this is what we have to do. We have to go through every single object. It's just the way it has to be to get everything accounted for in the master list, and we really have to be diligent just to make sure we're saving everything that needs to be saved. Otherwise we're gonna have bugs if I'm like being sloppy or just rushing through it or like turning my brain off. It's really dangerous. It's kind of mundane, but I have to be really careful doing this. It's very important. It's only got to be done one time. Once we're done, that's it, and then we can move on to the next thing. So anyway, have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Peace.